What's going on, guys? My name is Fregonese, and in this video what we're going to be diving into is a full breakdown of the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K test footage that I just uploaded about a week and a half ago. So I shot this with my good friend Millie here. It took us about an hour and a half, which is all I had the camera for. So, you know, I've been trying to answer as many comments as I can and like all the questions about the camera, but I actually haven't had my hands on it for that long. So I actually am doing the best I can to respond to as many of you and answer what I can, but I promise you a couple of you guys this video breaking down the color grade, which I am more than happy to do right now because that isn't very dependent on owning the camera for a long time. So thank you all for the 11,000 views, and let's dive right into it. So what most of you want to know is how I color graded it. So right here you can see, how did you grade it? Was it in Resolve? Great color. A lot of these are about the color. Nice colors. There was a couple more, especially asking about some LUTs. So what I'm going to do is straight away come in here and you can see what it was like straight out of the camera, which was this. So this is the work that I did on the image. So as you can see, I used the Premiere default like Rec 709 LUT, which I then had to put a lot of work into to bring the exposure back for this nicely exposed image. And then in the creative tab I had some of my little special sauce, and then a bit of sharpening, a bit of faded film. So right away we'll just come up to here and export a .cube. I've already done this for you guys, which is this one here, the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 4K .cube. And that'll be in the description if you guys want to purchase that, but if not, I'm going to show you what I did anyway. Before we get into anything, let me add an adjustment layer over the top again. I'll turn off the LUT. I'll turn off this one where I did all the work with all the LUTs and everything, and I'll import the LUT I just created on my desktop, and all the work has been done for you. So if you want to pick this LUT up, it's in the description. You guys can grab that, but if not, that is totally cool because I'm going to break down exactly what I did anyway. Obviously you won't have my little creative spice, but you can add your own. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. So this is what the color grade actually did. So I'll just turn the widescreen bars off and I'll just quickly show you the color grade because this is probably what most of you are here for. So I'll just turn that off and back on. You can see how flat the original image was. I'll go to another example. Let me just quickly mute this soundtrack. Another example, off, and then when it loads, back on. So you can see how flat Blackmagic actually is. And I was really surprised with how this image held up just because of the codec and bitrate that I was shooting at, which I'll go over very soon. So this is what it is. And looking through it all, yeah, it needed a lot of work. So I will say with this camera, if you're thinking about buying it, it's not like a Canon. You can't get it looking amazing straight out of the camera, which is what I normally do. I normally try and get it looking right straight out of the camera, and that's what I recommend. But in the case of this, Gab basically had the camera set up how he likes it, just gave it to me, and I kind of just ran with it. I didn't want to try and chop and change and figure out what picture profile or color settings that I liked, because I knew that if I just kept it all the same, I would be able to grade it properly in post. So everything on this Blackmagic was shot in 4K 60p, and it worked similarly to how it works on the Red. So if I have a look at the properties here, you can actually see it's 24 frames a second, and you're like, what? How is that actually slow motion? And then I was actually looking at this project file just before, and I was like, oh, it's because I actually came into here, modify, interpret footage, and change it to 24. But then that's when I remembered it works the same as the Red, which is it's overcrank slow motion. So you set the base frame rate, and then what it's called on Red is vary speed, and you would change what FPS you want, and then it'll change it back to 24 in camera. So you get slow motion straight out of the camera, similar to the 96 frames on the GH4. But the good thing about this, unlike the GH4, is you actually still get the audio. So you'll get real-time audio with the slow motion straight out of the camera, which is awesome. So you can just see the audio cut off right here. So that's the end of the audio clip around here, and then the rest is just slow motion. And then the other thing I want to mention to you guys before getting into this is I actually shot it in 4K 60p ProRes proxy. So the worst bitrate and data that you can actually use on the camera, and I'm surprised how well it had held up, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are as well. I pushed this image quite a bit, and you know, normally you'd get very bad banding. You can kind of see a bit of like the harshness here, but keep in mind it was 4K proxy, not 4K HQ, not even 4K LT, ProRes LT. So very impressed with it. It was amazing to shoot with. I love the back screen. Yeah, my first impressions are I kind of want one. It's amazing. It's really good. So what I did with the color grade, let's go back to that. The first thing that I did, I'm going to just make a new adjustment layer and just go through it all. The first thing that I did was I actually, when it was log, I was like, okay, how do I start? So what I did to start was I just went through all of these like flat to log picture profiles. So straight out the bat, you can get a nice image if you expose properly in camera. So I went through all of these and found what I liked. Oh, and also before that, let me turn this off too, so you can see what it actually looked like when I first did it, and I freaked out. I was like, wow, how am I going to make this look good? Using these LUTs, just, it's super overexposed. Did I fuck this up? Like, is any of this footage going to be good? Looking at it, I was like, oh, it looks fine, and then you convert it to what you think is Rec 709, and I freaked out. So what I did, I picked one that I kind of liked alright, and I started bringing back some values. So I brought it back a stop, I think. I brought back some highlights, crushed some shadows a little bit, and I pushed the whites, I think, and a bit more contrast. So already I was still like freaking out. I'm like, yeah, this is not looking good at all. And then pulling back some highlights and some exposures on here is where you start actually seeing it take shape. So I might even bring some of these back up. This is just me regrading what I think. And then I also was like, okay, I want kind of my nice look, which is in my downloads under Milli, which shows the custom LUT that I used, which kind of overexposed it a little bit and brought out those nice warmer tones. So already you can see that's looking nice, but that's because I know what I'm doing right now. Trust me, when I first added just a normal Rec 709 LUT, I was freaking out. And then yeah, trying to bring back all of this highlight and shadow detail, I was like very impressed with what it could do. So very awesome camera. I do dig it. Literally most of my color grading is trial and error, as you can probably tell. I also added some faded film, and I also added some sharpening, and like this was pretty easy to show you guys right now, but I probably spent 45 minutes on it. And as you can see here, every clip has a different kind of pullback. So once I graded one how I liked it, which was this first one, I then went through and tried to match them all. So pulling back exposures if they needed it, pulling back more highlights if I wanted it. So these are only pulling back 0.2 instead of the one, almost one exposure and 44 on the highlights. So I was pushing it quite hard. But now with the LUT that I just made, I can literally just go like this, go to the desktop, and all the work is done for me, which is nice. And then add those widescreen bars on, and you are good to go. And it looks exactly the same as the other LUT, which was all the values. So, I mean, that's pretty well it. Well, just delete one of these. I want to get my hands on the camera a bit more so I can show you guys some video settings that I actually will start using. But for the moment, that's probably all I can really show you guys. Other than the render settings that I then use, I just normally hit export. It's pretty easy, to be honest. I just go the YouTube 1080 full Yeah, and then I normally just bump it up to 44. And then hit this maximum render quality. And that is basically it. And then just hit export. So that's basically it. If you guys have any comments or any questions, let me know. But I hope that's it, and I hope you liked it a lot if you guys decide to purchase it. So I'll talk to you guys in the next one.